Mushoku Tensei Season 2 is right upon us, and so, to catch everyone up on Rudy's story thus far, I created this recap to help you all, my dear and fellow viewer. So, if you haven't, subscribe, like, and comment on the video if you're hyped for Mushoku Tensei Season 2. I mean, even Rudy wants you to do it. Look at his face. He's telling you, subscribe and like. As well, leave a comment, SpongeBob. I don't know why he sounds like that. Something like that. Just do it. After a tragic accident involving a truck, a despondent and unemployed man from Japan meets his death, only to be reborn in a fantasy world as Rudius. He is born as the son of Paul Greyrat, a skilled swordsman, and his wife, Zenith, a talented healer. Amazingly, Rudius retains his memories from his previous life and swiftly grasps the skill of reading, eventually delving into the study of magic. Recognizing his extraordinary potential, Rudius's parents enlist the aid of Roxy Magurdia, an experienced adventurer to guide him in the ways of magic. Initially skeptical about teaching such a young child, Roxy witnesses Rudius's astonishing ability to instantly cast spells, dispelling her doubts and recognizing his immense talent. As the Greyrat family hosts a warm welcome party for Roxy, Rudius makes a pledge to dedicate himself and make the most of this second chance at a happy and fulfilling life by putting in an earnest effort to improve. Rudius finds himself lost in thought about his previous life, his expulsion from home, and the fateful encounter with a truck that ended his existence while he bravely tried to save a group of teenagers. Months slip by as he trains in the magical arts under the tutelage of Roxy. However, the day of his 5th birthday celebration arrives, accompanied by an unexpected announcement from Roxy herself. She has imparted all she can and declares it is time for his graduation examination. The following day, Rudius embarks on a journey outside of his home, his anxiety intertwining with the lingering trauma from his past, where he endured severe bullying and became a recluse. Yet, amidst his inner turmoil, a newfound realization dawns upon him. Observing how effortlessly Roxy assimilates into the village, despite the prevailing prejudices she typically faces due to her foreign appearance, he discovers a wellspring of hope within himself. As the examination unfolds, Rudius summons forth a huge thunderstorm. Acknowledging his progress, Roxy tells him he passed the test. With the end of the examination, Roxy leaves to continue her own journey. Rudius thanks her sincerely for all the things that she has done for him. Now liberated from the shackles of his fear to leave home under Roxy's guidance, Rudius embraces the joy of playing outdoors alone. It is during this outing that he rescues a half-elf child named Sylph from a gang of bullies. A strong bond forms between Rudius and Sylphie as they become fast friends. Rudius then begins to teach Sylphie magic. Time passes, and 6 months later, as a storm rages outside, Rudius brings Sylphie home to get shelter within his home. In an unforeseen turn of events, Rudius, acting with innocent intentions, unwittingly removes Sylphie's clothes in preparation for a bath, only to be stunned by the realization that she is, in fact, a girl? Her full name is Sylphiette. Overwhelmed with guilt, Rudius offers his sincere apologies to Sylphiette, yet she evades his presence, much to his sadness. Eventually, Sylphiette approaches Rudius and their friendship is mended. Filled with determination, Rudius resolves to cherish the first friendship he has gotten in his new life. The Greyrat family is overjoyed upon discovering Zenith is once again pregnant, but their happiness is abruptly shattered by a revelation from their maid, Lilia. It comes to light that Lilia, having engaged in an affair with Paul, is also carrying his child. Concerned for Lilia's well-being and fearing Zenith's anger, Rudius orchestrates a plan to shield her from the consequences. Despite being aware that Lilia had seduced his father, he persuades Zenith to forgive her, with Paul willingly accepting the blame. This selfless act earns Rudius the gratitude and unwavering loyalty of Lilia. In due course, Zenith and Lilia do give birth to 2 precious girls, Norn and Aisha, respectively. Meanwhile, Rudius receives a letter from Roxy, telling him to join her at the renowned Renoa Magic Academy. Contemplating his departure, Rudius finds himself torn as Sylphiette, unwilling to be separated from him, expresses her reluctance. Consequently, he resolves to seek employment to fund their education instead. However, recognizing that Rudius's deep attachment to Sylphiette may impede his personal growth, his parents make a difficult decision by deciding to separate them. They entrust their son to the care of an old family friend, Ghislaine, a beast woman. Ghislaine departs from the village, accompanied by Rudius. Ghislaine assumes the responsibility of guiding Rudius, and as they journey together, he reads a letter from Paul. The message reveals that his father has arranged a tutoring position for Rudius, enabling him to fund his and Sylphiette's education. However, recognizing the potential hindrance of his attachment to Sylphiette, Paul sternly prohibits Rudius from returning home or meeting her for the next 5 years. In the vibrant city of Roa, Rudius encounters his employer, Philip Boreas Greyrat, the mayor and his father's cousin. His task is to educate Philip's daughter, ERIS. Unfortunately, Rudius is met with ERIS's hostile attitude upon their introduction, convinced that he cannot penetrate her defenses through conventional means. Rudius formulates a daring plan to earn her trust. With the consent of her father, they stage a kidnapping, one that Rudius hopes will lead to a breakthrough in their relationship. As the scheme unfolds, Rudius and ERIS find themselves ensnared by real kidnappers. However, through his quick thinking and powers, Rudius manages to turn the tables, orchestrating their escape while gaining ERIS's cooperation. Returning to Roa, Rudius uncovers the unsettling truth that their abduction was not part of their initial plan, and that one of Philip's own servants has been collaborating with the criminals. Determined to protect ERIS, Rudius confronts the bandits in a fierce battle until Ghislaine arrives to their rescue, killing their enemies and apprehending the traitor. Once they return home, ERIS embraces Rudius as her tutor, accepting him into her household. Expressing his gratitude, Philip extends his heartfelt appreciation to Rudius for safeguarding ERIS, issuing a solemn warning to keep his connections with the Greyrat family concealed, as it could potentially make him a target once more. In the days that follow, Ghislaine starts teaching her formidable swordsmanship skills to both ERIS and Rudius, while Rudius takes on the role of tutor, educating them in magic, literacy, and mathematics. Yet, ERIS, played by the uninteresting material, frequently skips her classes. Recognizing the need to kindle her enthusiasm, Rudius grants her 1 day off each week as an incentive. As they leisurely stroll through the city, ERIS endeavors to purchase an expensive book as a gift for Rudius. However, he graciously declines, asserting that she cannot present without her money, suggesting that her father provide her with an allowance instead. Taking Rudius's suggestion to heart, ERIS acquires her allowance and presents him with a vial that had piqued his interest. Unknown to her, it contains an aphrodisiac, plunging Rudius into a very interesting predicament. Filled with worry and other things, he grapples the idea of revealing the true nature of the vial to both ERIS and Ghislaine. Understandable. With ERIS's 10th birthday celebration drawing near, Rudius recognizes the importance of her dance performance. So he allows her dance teacher to borrow some of his allocated tutoring time, enabling ERIS to refine her skills. Taking advantage of the newfound free time, Rudius begins the study of various languages. Despite her efforts, ERIS struggles to make significant progress in her dancing, leading her to contemplate giving up. However, Rudius becomes an unwavering source of encouragement for her, pushing her to persevere. He starts to take an active role in assisting her with her lessons. Meanwhile, Rudius continues to hone his proficiency in foreign languages with the guidance of Ghislaine and Roxy. ERIS's progress in dancing, however, remains small. As the day of the birthday party arrives, ERIS finds herself unable to fulfill the expectation of dancing with a noble partner. Rudius steps forward, offering himself as ERIS's dance partner. He imparts instructions to ERIS, directing her to use her fighting prowess in her dance moves. The result is a success as they manage to dance together. Following the celebration, Rudius encounters Eris's grandfather, Saurus. An ominous spectacle then catches Saurus' attention, a mysterious ball of light hovering in the sky. 2 years go by, and Eris, along with her family, arranges a birthday celebration for Rudius. Although initially disheartened by the absence of his own family, who are unable to attend due to the escalating monster threat across the country, during the festivals, he is given a high-quality magic staff. Philip then expresses his desire for Rudius to marry Eris and, eventually, become his successor. However, Rudius does not agree to his plan. Later that evening, Rudius then tries to push himself upon Eris, but she shoves him away. Recognizing that he did something wrong, Rudius sincerely apologizes to Eris, who forgives him. A few days pass, and a massive cloud brimming with mana materializes in the sky, capturing the attention of all. In response, the legendary hero, Perugius Dola, dispatches his aide, Almanfi, to investigate this peculiar phenomenon. Suspicion looms over Rudius, who, alongside Eris and Ghislaine, has been practicing his new staff. Unfairly accused, Rudius finds himself under attack from Almanfi. However, Ghislaine comes to his side and helps defend his innocence, when a large surge of light hits them. Resembling his former self, Rudius finds himself in an encounter with a mysterious entity known as the Human God. This enigmatic being imparts vague wisdom, urging Rudius to place his trust in and support the man who once saved him. The meeting concludes, and Rudius awakens in his present body. To his surprise, Rudius discovers that both he and Eris are stranded in the depths of the Demon Continent. Their salvation comes from Ruigerd Superdia, a member of the feared Superd race. Ruigerd extends a compassionate hand, vowing to ensure their safe return home. Under Ruigerd's guidance, Rudius and Eris are brought to a nearby village, coincidentally, the birthplace of Roxy. They then meet Roxy's parents. It is during their stay in this village that Rudius learns of Ruigerd's tragic story. The ill reputation of the Superd race stems from the cursed spears bestowed upon them by the malevolent demon god Laplace. These sinister artifacts transform the Superd into mindless instruments of murder. Ruigerd carries one such spear, which once belonged to his son. Ruigerd, in his madness, killed his son, and this allowed him to break out of his possession. Touched by Ruigerd's unwavering resolve to redeem his people's name, Rudius decides to assist him in his quest. With Eris by their side, the trio embarks on the journey to get Eris and Rudius home. Rudius, Eris, and Ruigerd find themselves outside the city of Rikarisu. Mindful of the potential complications Ruigerd's presence may cause, Rudius devises a plan to ensure his entry. He dyes Ruigerd's hair and presents him as a member of the Magurdia tribe. The trio then establishes themselves as an official group of adventurers. However, their novice status as adventurers poses a hurdle to their financial situation, as they can't take on more lucrative quests that would allow them to make ends meet. Receiving more guidance from the human god, Rudius takes a seemingly inconspicuous quest searching for a lost pet. Their quest for this missing pet takes an unexpected turn, as they encounter a group of shady adventurers who have been kidnapping pets in order to claim the rewards for their return. A battle ensues, with Rudius and his companions emerging victorious. In the aftermath, Rudius seeks to gather information from the defeated kidnappers, but finds himself being attacked by one of them. Instantly, Ruigerd retaliates, swiftly ending the assailant's life. Disapproving of Ruigerd's ruthless action, Rudius criticizes him and establishes a firm rule. Killing is to be done only as a last resort, cases of self-defense. Utilizing the higher rank held by the defeated kidnappers, Rudius and his companions seize the opportunity to undertake more lucrative and rewarding quests. Their exploits gradually enhance their party's reputation, paving the way for greater opportunities. In the wake of the mana surge of Fatoa, Roxy sets out on a quest to gather news about Rudius and his family. Disturbingly, she discovers that, apart from Paul and Norn, the entire Grey Rat family is missing. Meanwhile, Rudius and his companions are embarking on a quest venturing into the depths of a mysterious forest to find a monster. They stumble upon two other parties with similar objectives. However, tragedy strikes swiftly as one of the groups falls victim to an ambush by monsters. Rudius chooses to bide his time and wait before helping, which leads to one of the adventurers' deaths. After the very monster they were pursuing launches its own attack on the other party, completely wiping them out. Rudius and his companions manage to then kill the monster, returning to the city of Rikarisu. Rudius finds himself confronted by a fellow adventurer who has uncovered his scheme. Attempting to exploit this knowledge for personal gain, the individual resorts to blackmail. In response, Ruijur discards his disguise and reveals his true nature as a suppard. He sternly warns the would-be blackmailer, vowing to kill him if he reveals anything. With the city behind him, Rudius and Ruijur reconcile. The trio continues their journey, making their way towards a coastal city on the fringes of the Demon Continent. Unbeknownst to them, Roxy herself is also nearing their location, accompanied by two former companions of Paul. Upon arrival at the city, Roxy's party disembarks, ready to continue their search for Rudius. Meanwhile, Rudius and ERIS are confronted with an unexpected obstacle. Ruijur's status as a suppard renders the cost of his boat fee prohibitively high. Determined to find a solution, Rudius finds himself once again visited by the human god, who cryptically introduces him to acquire food from a specific location. Following the human god's guidance, Rudius stumbles upon a peddler, her hunger palpable. He provides her with food. The peddler then reveals her true identity, Kishirika Kishirisu, the Demon Emperor. In gratitude for his kindness, she bestows upon him a remarkable new power, the ability to glimpse a few seconds into the future. Eager to test his newfound gift, Rudius uses his enhanced eye to save a man from danger. As Rudius grows accustomed to his extraordinary ability, he contemplates selling his cherished staff in order to gather enough funds for Ruijur's passage. However, Ruijur dissuades him from his sacrifice. A familiar face then approaches the party Gallus Cleaner, the very man who Rudius had previously saved. Roxy, accompanied by her fellow adventurers Tall Hand and Ellie Nelise, searches the city, hoping to uncover any trace of Paul's missing family. Unaware that Rudius is in that very city, despite her efforts, Roxy remains oblivious to his presence, as Rudius has been traveling under a false name. While exploring the city, Roxy stumbles upon a sparring session between ERIS and Ruijur, but confuses them to both be suppards and runs away. Disheartened by their lack of progress, Roxy and her companions then decide to continue their quest in the next town. However, Rudius and his party manages to leave the city by boat, thanks to Gallus's assistance in smuggling Ruijur onto the ship. In return, he asks for Rudius's aid in procuring goods from Zant Port. Upon reaching Zant, Rudius sets out to fulfill his end of the bargain by infiltrating the smuggler's hideout. To his surprise, he discovers that his mission involves freeing captive beast children, victims of these smugglers. Ruijur dispatches the smugglers, freeing the children and escorting them to safety. Meanwhile, Rudius remains behind to rescue a magical dog. However, he is then ambushed and captured by a pair of beastmen, who mistakenly believe him to be one of the smugglers, as they were looking for the children and the sacred beast of their village. Unaware of the truth, the beastmen take Rudius to the village for interrogation. Imprisoned within a cage in the DOLDIA village, Rudius finds himself accompanied by Geese, a fellow human captive and a skilled rogue. Their shared captivity binds them together and they form an alliance. Several days pass, and the tranquility of the village is shattered when the smugglers launch an attack. They aim to abduct more beast children. In the face of danger, Rudius and Geese seize the opportunity to break free from their imprisonment, joining forces with the village inhabitants to defend against the ruthless assailants. It is revealed that Gallus is leading this attack and is the orchestrator of the smuggling ring. Having deceived Rudius, Gallus had cuttingly manipulated events to exploit Rudius as a diversion, drawing the village's warriors away from their home. In a show of strength, Gallus defeats Geese and claims the lives of two of his men. Realizing the grave threat Gallus possesses, Rudius weighs his options, contemplating whether to allow Gallus to escape. However, salvation arrives in the form of the Sacred Beast, who assists the others in defeating Gallus. In the aftermath of the intense battle, Rudius is reunited with ERIS and Ruiger, who explain their delay as they were assisting the Doldians in eradicating the remnants of the smuggling ring. The villagers, acknowledging their earlier misjudgment and deeply grateful for Rudius' pivotal role in defending against the attack, offer their sincerest apologies. They express their heartfelt gratitude for his assistance. However, the repercussions of the events that unfolded in Fatoia cast a dark shadow. Eris' grandfather, wrongly blamed for the situation at the city following the Mana Surge, is unjustly stripped of his position, and he is executed in front of the king. The rainy season leaves Rudius and his companions stranded in DOLDIA village for the next 3 months. Within this period, Eris forged friendships with the Beast Children, particularly Tona, the daughter of Geis, the village's esteemed warrior. However, mentioning Ghislaine's name triggered Geis' disdain as he disclosed that Ghislaine was his sister who had departed the village long ago, deemed a traitor for rejecting the role of a village guardian. This revelation ignited Tona's curiosity and swordsmanship, and Eris willingly assumed the role of her mentor. After 3 months, when the rains subside, Rudius and his party readied themselves to depart. However, Tona was unwilling to bid farewell to Eris, leading to a rift between them. Geis intervened, persuading Tona to apologize, unveiling the truth about Ghislaine's youthful rebellion. He admitted regret for allowing Ghislaine's departure without making an effort to comprehend her choices. With the reconciliation between Tona and Eris, Rudius and his companions embarked on their journey to the holy country of Milis, accompanied by Geis, who joined their party to hitch a ride. Upon reaching the grand capital city of Milis, named Milishian, Geis bids farewell to the group, while Rudius decides that everyone deserves a day of rest. However, amidst their leisure, Rudius witnesses a suspicious kidnapping unfolding before his eyes. Driven by his sense of justice, he shadows the abductors, only to be taken aback when he discovers that the mastermind behind all of it is none other than Paul, his own father. Paul reveals that their hometown was engulfed in a teleportation catastrophe, and for the past year and a half, he and his companions have tirelessly searched for the missing villagers and their families. As Rudius recounts his arduous journey from the Demon Continent, Paul questions him about his failure to write a letter or spare a thought for the other victims of the calamity, leaving Rudius at a loss for words. The brewing tension between them escalates into a heated fight until Norn steps in to stop the confrontation. Overwhelmed by the memories of past rejection, Rudius runs away. Witnessing Rudius in a depressed state, Eris tries to uplift his spirits, which he appreciates greatly. As Eris explores the city of Milishian, she is unknowingly being watched by Ruiger, who keeps a watchful eye, silently assuring their safety. Inside the Adventure Guild, Eris eagerly accepts a mission to eradicate a goblin threat. She intervenes and prevents a group of adventurers from fighting with Cliff. Eris proceeds with her mission, accompanied by a persistent Cliff. However, an unfortunate accident occurs, as Cliff's Exodus Flame inadvertently damages the goblin ears required for their tasks. Annoyed by this, Eris expresses her frustration and urges Cliff to return to Milishian. However, Cliff manages to persuade Eris, convincing her to venture deeper into the forest to hunt additional goblins. Within the depths of the forest, Eris showcases her strength by thwarting an assassination attempt, showcasing her exceptional skills. This act ignites a deepened admiration within Cliff's heart, leading him to fall for her. However, as they return to Milishian, Cliff musters the courage to confess his feelings for Eris, only to face the reality of her rejection, realizing that Eris's heart belongs to another. Cliff accepts this and makes the decision to return to his own home. Geis visits Paul, revealing he is a member of Paul's party. Geis encourages Paul to mend his relationship with Rudius, reminding him that Rudius is, after all, still a kid. Haunted by nightmares of the things that may have happened to Rudius, Paul resolves to give up drinking, recognizing the need for a change. The following day, Rudius and Paul meet up again. Awkwardness looms in the air due to the fallout of their fight. However, Rudius quickly realizes that Paul had misunderstood his initial intentions and that he was genuinely attempting to apologize. With hearts laid bare, they engage in a heartfelt talk. During this cathartic conversation, Rudius confides in Paul, expressing his intentions to embark on a quest to search for the remainder of their family once he safely escorts ERIS back home, even though the fate of ERIS' own family remains unknown. As the two part ways once more, Paul learns from Geese that his search for the rest of Paul's family will persist, as Geese pledges to explore places they haven't checked yet. As Rudius and his companions embark on their journey across the sea towards the central continent, Roxy finds herself returning to her home village. There, she begins to confront the lingering sense of displacement that comes from being unable to telepathically connect with her fellow villagers. Initially considering leaving quickly, Roxy sees how much her parents have missed her and decides to not follow through on that. During their reunion, Roxy's parents reveal that Rudius had visited them 2 years prior. This revelation fills Roxy with immense relief, knowing that he is safe. With renewed determination, she bids farewell to her parents, accompanied by her fellow adventurers, as they resume their quest to scour the Demon Continent in search of the remaining members of Rudius' scattered family. Guided by the human god once again, Rudius embarks on a mission to reunite with Lilia and Aisha. Arriving in the kingdom of Sharon, Rudius wastes no time in reaching out to Roxy with a letter, who serves as a teacher in the palace. Rudius then saves Aisha from some pursuers. Following the human god's advice, Rudius decides to conceal his true identity from his sister upon their reunion. A series of misunderstandings ensues when Aisha discovers a pair of panties belonging to Roxy. Because of this, Aisha develops an unfavorable opinion of her older brother, considering him to be a pervert, which is true. Rudius is summoned to the palace for an audience with Roxy. However, his plans are derailed as he falls into a trap orchestrated by the 7th Prince of Sharon, Pax. Holding Lilia hostage and driven by an infatuation with Roxy, Pax unveils his sinister plan to use Rudius as bait in order to capture the object of his desire. While confined in his cell, Rudius receives an unexpected visitor, the 3rd Prince of Sharon, Zenoba. Filled with admiration for Rudius' exceptional sculpting skills, Zenoba expresses his desire to become his apprentice. Rudius informs Zenoba that only Pax, the mastermind behind his imprisonment, holds the key to his release. Undeterred, Zenoba pledges to resolve the predicament at hand. In the meantime, Pax's guard strike a deal with Ruijerd, ERIS, and Aisha. In exchange for their assistance in rescuing their captive families, the guards smuggle them into the palace. As the plan unfolds, Zenoba manages to apprehend Pax, exposing his true strength as a blessed child. Known as the Decapitator Prince, leaving him no choice but to comply with their demands and release Rudius from his imprisonment. Pax's guards, upon learning that their loved ones are now safe, refuse to assist any further. With this crisis averted, arrangements are made for Lilia and Aisha to return home. As a gesture of goodwill, Lilia returns Roxy's panties to Rudius, a lighthearted reminder of their earlier misinterpretation. Additionally, Lilia presents Rudius with a precious necklace crafted by Sylphiette for his 10th birthday. In turn, Rudius gives his forehead protector to Aisha as a memento. Before bidding farewell, Aisha offers a heartfelt apology to Rudius for her previous accusations, even though they were kinda true, revealing that she had known his true identity as her brother all along. Meanwhile, Pax and Zenoba, in the aftermath of the scandal, are forced into exile from the Sharon kingdom under the guise of embarking on a study abroad. As Rudius, ERIS, and Ruijerd continue their journey, they unexpectedly encounter Orsted, the dragon god. Overwhelmed by fear, ERIS and Ruijerd freeze in their tracks, refusing to move. However, Rudius, undeterred by their warnings, musters his courage and begins conversing with Orsted. Orsted mistakes Rudius for one of the human god's apostles and launches an attack. Despite ERIS and Ruijerd's attempt to protect ERIS, they are swiftly overpowered by Orsted, who inflicts a fatal wound upon Rudius. As Rudius' life slips away, he finds himself in the presence of the human god, who unveils that Orsted has cursed that illicit, irrational fear in all living beings. Remarkably, Rudius remains unaffected by this curse. In his final moments, Rudius expresses gratitude to the human god. However, rather than succumbing to death, Rudius inexplicably returns to the realm of the living. He soon learns that Nanahoshi, Orsted's companion, interceded on his behalf, successfully persuading Orsted to spare Rudius' life before the two departed. At night, Rudius confides in Ruijerd about the true nature of the human god and the gradual fading of the suppered curse. The next day, the party arrives at the ruins of Rudius' long-lost hometown, triggering a flood of memories from his earlier life. Ruijerd declares that Rudius and ERIS have grown strong enough to no longer require his protection. He announces his departure, with Rudius and ERIS saying goodbye. Continuing their journey, Rudius and ERIS venture onward to Roa, also a devastated ruin. There, they encounter Ghislaine along with her servant, Alphonse. However, amidst the bittersweet reunion, Alphonse delivers news of ERIS' partner's falling victim to the teleportation incident, and her grandfather meeting a tragic fate by being executed. Alphonse further reveals a proposal from another branch of the Grey Rat family, offering ERIS a chance to preserve her lineage through marriage. Yet, Ghislaine staunchly opposes this arrangement. Rudius finds out that Sylphiette is not presumed dead. Her whereabouts remain unknown. As the night falls, ERIS visits Rudius and they have sex. However, when Rudius awakes the next morning, he finds himself alone, learning that ERIS and Ghislaine are going to an unknown destination. Rudius finds himself trapped in the depths of despair as haunting memories of his past life resurface, replaying the painful experiences of severe bullying that left him scarred and withdrawn. Meanwhile, driven by her determination to protect Rudius from Orsted, ERIS embarks on a journey accompanied by Ghislaine to get stronger. Ruijerd comes to the aid of travelers in need, rescuing them from vicious beasts. Despite revealing his true identity as a Suppard, the people he saves recognizes his bravery and praise him for his selfless actions. Zenoba and Geese continue on their separate paths, their hearts reminiscing with their time spent with Rudius. In DOLDIA village, Guys and Tona are training. Roxy crosses path with Kishirika and lends a helping hand by settling Kishirika's overwhelming bar tab. Grateful for Roxy's kindness, Kishirika utilizes her demon eyes and unveils the whereabouts of Rudius' family. This brings relief to Roxy, as Aisha and Lilia are found to have safely reunited with Paul and Norn, while Zenith's presence is discovered in the labyrinth city of Rapan on the Magarit continent. This newfound knowledge propels Roxy and her companions into immediate action as they journey to the Magarit continent to rescue Zenith. While Rudius remains trapped in his depression, a flicker of hope ignites within his heart as he experiences a dream of his mother, Zenith. The realization of his duty to find and protect her dispels his insecurities and rekindles his resolve to continue his journey. Unbeknownst to Rudius, Sylphiette, alive and bearing white hair, seeks to convince an unknown group, persuading them to consider recruiting Rudius into their ranks. And there it is, Mushoku Tensei for you, my SeaTactics faithful. If you haven't, please do check out my coverage of Mushoku Tensei Season 1 to further elevate your Tensei knowledge. Thanks for watching, bye-bye.